Hello, my name is Gregory Long. I'm the president of the New York Botanical Garden, and I'm taking a walk through the garden this morning. There's so many wonderful things in flower, both indoors and out, and I thought I'd share them with you. Here we are in the great palm house of the Enid A. Haupt Conservatory, 90 feet high and full of fabulous, fabulous palms. But here is the set piece, the introductory set piece to the Orchid Show. The Orchid Show, inspired by the green walls, the vertical gardens of Patrick Blanc, the French botanist and landscape designer. Isn't that amazing? The orchids rising about 30 feet into the air. There are many of these fabulous bouquets all through these houses. These are installed by our curators. Our curators know how to do this. They know how to make these incredible set pieces. This orchid is called Trick or Treat. That's nice. It's orange. I guess it's a kind of Halloween orchid. And then over here there's a purple one. This is a very fragrant one, I know. This one is called the Moonlight on the Rhine. Fantastic. You have to come see this, all purple. And then there's a big yellow one here. This one's called Sweet Sugar. This is an Oncidium orchid. You know, Dancing Lady. There's a Dancing Lady orchid. You have to come see these. They're like magnificent. This is an amazing part of the Orchid Show. This is a case of miniature orchids. It may be a little hard to photograph because it has glass on the front, because they're so rare and so precious. These orchids are really like jewels. It's a kind of jewel case, isn't it? It's nothing, you know, Tiffany's is the sponsor of the show, by the way, but Tiffany's jewels in their windows and 57th Street don't have anything more beautiful than this, I don't think. Now, this is an amazing plant. It's not an orchid, but it's the most fabulous vine from the Philippines. This gorgeous jade color. It's called jade vine by some people. Strongylodon, we call it. It's all growing here in this great arc over this pool. And these are its flowers hanging from this pendulous branch. It's the most amazing thing. One has just come off in my hand. Actually, there are a few on the floor. If you come here this weekend or someday soon, you can see the orchids and you can see this fabulous Strongylodon in flower. It's amazing, isn't it? Here we are in the Orchid Show proper. This is an amazing show. 6,000 orchids, all these vertical walls, 9 vertical walls, which we designed, our fabulous curators here designed with Patrick Blanc. Look at the extent of the show. It's like staggering. Some of the curators are working this morning to freshen up some of the orchids. This is after the weekend, and we do this all the time. We keep freshening things up and making sure things are beautiful for you. This Orchid Show is quite an amazing thing. Great bromeliads, a great bromeliad about to flower here. This is a bromeliad known as Vreesia imperialis. It's a fantastic thing. A whole bouquet, another bouquet of purple orchids in this olive tree. This is totally an amazing visual treat. Well, that was a peek at the fabulous Orchid Show. Let me show you what's in flower outside. You won't believe it. Here we are in the great Conifer Arboretum. This part of the garden is very old. Many of these trees were planted in the late 19th century, more than 100 years ago. And this is one of the great specimen trees of the New York Botanical Garden, the Cobus magnolia. It's almost completely in flower. In the next week or two, it'll come completely into flower. It's a Japanese tree, also South Korea, a very, very old, gnarled, fabulous specimen just here on Perennial Garden Way, where you can step off the path if you're well behaved and smell it. It smells fantastic. Here we are in the Azalea Garden. You remember the Azalea Garden that opened last spring around Mother's Day with thousands and thousands of azaleas. But here's the earliest azalea of the season, the Korean azalea. So beautiful, this big clump of pink flowers. 3 weeks early we're having this. But if you have this in your home garden, which you can do, you can find it at many nurseries. You'd have it 3 weeks from now, in any year. So it's the first of the azaleas. It begins the season. In the distance, some of the daffodils and Daffodil Hill are starting now. This is quite a sight in the early spring. Here we are in the rock garden. This rock garden, this is one of my favorite places in the New York Botanical Garden. It's very historic, very secret garden, but it's fantastic in the early spring. Inside, we're just at the entrance here now, but inside there are many delicious things in flower, including a little shrub called Daphne, an alpine shrub, which has the most delicious scent. You have to come try that out. And just here at the entrance, these are all hellebores and daffodils, species narcissus. This is so pretty. This is really a fantastic harbinger of a wonderful spring to come. Smells vaguely lemony, vaguely, but it certainly looks lemony. You know, this is an amazing planting, a very old planting of a beautiful shrub called winter hazel. It always flowers very early, but earlier this year than ever before, as you know. It's along here in a great sweep on Garden Way, just near the visitor center and the tram stop. So this is something to check out. Now, this is something you can also grow in your home garden. If you've got a garden anywhere around the New York area, this is something you might want to plant. Now, I've been wandering around the garden this morning, only for about 45 minutes, indoors and out, and you see how many incredibly fascinating and beautiful things there are to see here. So you should come check it out. Come this weekend if you can. Come the next weekend. It only gets better from now on out, from now in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And remember, the Orchid Show is open until April 22nd.